Today, we'll reveal the masked man's secret. Nick suspects Elizabeth and Rob have a hidden link. She plans to use the tape to pry open Rob's psychological defenses, but as the psychologist, Rob isn't fazed by Nick's tricks at all. However, Nick's classic interrogation clearly flopped again, but the forensics team had some good news. They found a new fingerprint on the victim's ID, and surprise, it belongs to Rob. Nick promptly hauled Rob into the room, eager to learn that night's drama. Rob was as tight-lipped as a dead duck, leaving Nick with no choice but to pivot and ask him something else. She inquired about what happened to Elizabeth during her sophomore year at West Point, and the plot thickened. Rob was Elizabeth's psychologist at the base, but he hesitated on whether to spill the beans. Subtitles. This truly made Nick extremely angry, and right at the moment when she was about to turn around and leave, Rob exclaimed, "This is terrifying," causing Nick to demand to know what happened. But Rob remained cryptic. Meanwhile, Laura returned to the scene to hunt for clues. She boldly speculated that Elizabeth had some special interests, and the victim might have volunteered for a bondage party. She turned to leave, but Laura sensed a strange vibe around her, and suddenly felt the danger. Just when she tried to escape, she was shoved down. A group of masked soldiers lunged at Laura, delivering a flurry of punches and even giving her a warning. But keen-eyed, Laura spotted the ring on her hand, after which the masked folks vanished in a hurry. Nick quickly called AJ to ask what was going on, and AJ said the military police had been intentionally called away. AJ insisted he didn't get any orders, but promised to investigate. Luckily, Laura was unharmed, and Nick learned about the ring from her. Nick quickly zeroed in on the suspect, the general's assistant, Albie. This person was entangled in the case, so she went right in to give Albie a beating, but he was tough. It wasn't until Nick pulled out her gun that he started talking. However, Albie's words left Nick even more puzzled. She wanted to know what this bear was. It turns out Elizabeth's father knew everything about her escapades already. Besides Old White's deputy, pretty much every man with a rank was involved with Elizabeth, and it seemed to be tied to her father. She was conducting a family psychological drama in a psychological battle, with the opponent's father being her own. More and more people were getting involved, and she and Nick planned to go back and interrogate the captured Rob, but Rob had mysteriously vanished and was released. AJ told Nick that Rob's lawyer came to see him with Rob's medical records. By rule, officers can't be jailed in regular prisons, and AJ didn't know Rob was Elizabeth's murder suspect. Subtitles. Nick was extremely furious and immediately dashed off to find Rob. When she and Laura arrived at Rob's place, they discovered had already waved goodbye. But Rob's suicide left Nick puzzled. Was someone pulling the strings behind all this? Nick confronted AJ directly, wanting to know about Elizabeth's peculiar interests. AJ claimed he had only heard rumors. Although AJ denied any involvement with Elizabeth, Nick knew it was far from simple. Think about it. You really need to reflect on your profession. Nick fired back with no care whatsoever and was firmly determined to uncover the truth. Laura also got some good news, discovering that there was a psychological profile of Elizabeth left in Nick's car. They raced to West Point, where the truth about the psychologist might just be revealed. The psychologist was devastated to learn of Elizabeth's passing, feeling remorse for not saving her wounded soul. What happened during that time was hard for the doctor to disclose, as it was clearly under wraps. To avoid putting the doctor in a tough spot, Nick and Laura assured him they had merely heard his musings by chance. Elizabeth's arrival caused quite a stir at the academy. She was not only beautiful, but also a true girl power legend. Her skills were exceptional. Boys often couldn't match her in training. Before sophomore year ended, they faced a night drill. Suddenly, she was surrounded by a dozen camouflaged men in the dark, and that's when the real drama began. Soon after, a horrifying scene unfolded. She was bound to the ground and couldn't move, as though living a nightmare. When the psychologist finally saw her, she had completely shut herself off and refused to talk about anything. Nick wanted a list of those who assaulted her, but the doctor flatly refused. It was clear those people hadn't faced any consequences. The doctor said her office door was open, and a file in the file cabinet's corner might have the clues they sought. She successfully got the list from the doctor, and shockingly, those who assaulted Elizabeth were members of their investigation team. The doctor had tried to stop them because she and Elizabeth were friends, but could only watch helplessly as Elizabeth suffered, which still haunts her. It confronted Rob's lawyer because the documents in the cog came from the lawyer. She wanted to know the significance of recreating the assault scene. The lawyer told Nick that Elizabeth had requested it, and that Rob even advised against it. He believed that Rob wouldn't commit suicide over this, and certainly didn't murder Elizabeth. The lawyer revealed that Rob helped Elizabeth set the scene, and later called her father. Nick wanted the truth about the recording and incident. Clearly, old White Nick wouldn't back off until he found it.